it is time for my crutches to fall on the ground and for me to take off the whole rear axle, whole front axle, the leafs, shocks, all that stuff, get it down to bare frame on cinder blocks for some frame prep, for paint. We're going to be grinding down all of this surface rust that you see here. I think surface rust is a little bit of a understatement. On the sides of the frame rails, it's pretty bad considering that this was all under the tub, but we've already done a little bit of wire wheeling here. This thing's been out in the elements for a little bit, so you can see some rust coming in, but although it is a little bit porous, it cleans up decently nice. So before pulling off the axles and prepping it a little bit more, we decided that we were going to power wash it. This might not have been the best method because it gets everything a little bit rusty all over again, but there was so much gunk, so much oil, so much dirt, so much grease overflowing from the fittings and just around all the bushings that it really needed to be done. After this, you'll basically just see me pulling off the rear axle, and then we'll get around to the front and get into some grinding. These shocks are giving me big issues because these cotter pins are so rusted in there, so might be time for a little bit of a punch and cut off wheel sort of deal or something along those lines. I'm tired, I'm hungry. I got homework to do. My leg hurts. Got hurt in football, that's why I got crutches right now. So that's why this video is probably coming out later than a week after the last one. Just haven't been able to work on it for a little bit. But I'm gonna go inside. I'm gonna call it a night for tonight. Didn't do much. Mowing the lawn in the middle of that really put a hold on things, but I'm gonna pack up all these tools and then that'll be it for today. And I will catch you guys on another day and it'll all be in the same video. So see you soon. One more thing for today. Having a great stool, especially when you're working on short little cars like this, on frames that aren't on lifts, and some of your home shops that aren't fancy with lifts and stuff, is so key. If you guys are looking for a cool stool, here's a good idea. Saw it online on TikTok or something like that, but it's very nice. So I've just made a very interesting discovery. I don't know if this is factory or what, but all the lugs on that side came off clockwise, like every single lug nut that I've ever used has. These ones, they're threaded counterclockwise. Very interesting. So here we are, moving on to finishing off the other side of the rear axle. It's basically just two bolts that come out on either side of the leaves. The shock mount, the drive shaft, which is going to be detached here shortly. And that's really about it. These are a lot heavier than expected, and it just dropped right out as soon as I got that shock off the mount that it's on. And I moved on to the front after that, which proved to be a lot easier than the rear for whatever reason, probably because oil gets tossed around all up there. And I apologize in advance for the leaf blower noises that are sped up in the background. Front axle's out, rear axle is out. This thing is really getting to look like just a frame now. Engine's gonna stay in, and the next step is really just grinding down the entire frame, prepping it. We have all this coating that goes on it that you put it on, it turns all the rust, like surface rust though, not like this big heavy stuff here, into zinc oxide. I saw it on some guy's YouTube channel, so that all arrived. We're gonna get to work with that and the wire wheel for probably 5-6 hours and get this thing looking decent. We're back out here again. Just gonna start on some grinding down of the rust on the frame and the axles, which are now pulled out and put up on this big nice stand that we made. There's brake lines running all over this thing, and they're just getting in the way of power washing and cleaning out the inside of the frame rails. So those are all gonna get snipped out right now. It's just a bare frame now. It's kind of weird taking everything off before it actually looks nice, but this is considered progress, so yep. And it is time to start grinding. I'm gonna start on the frame just because I'm like procrastinating doing these axles right here because of all the little surfaces that they have, and I'm probably gonna dismantle them further before doing that, but enjoy. As you can tell by my excited tone of voice when I said enjoy, I'm extremely excited to grind this whole thing down. The amount of dust that this creates, which is basically just like rust particles, and the way that your hands get locked into like some closed position is really rough, but we got to do it. So I really thought that this was going to be a terrible job, but this grinding wheel, which is just one of the conical sort of wire wheels that has the twists of wire on it, and this wired grinder really make quick work of the frame rust. We really need to get it only to a place where it just has a little bit of surface rust on it, because the compound that we're using to like prep the frame basically dissolves all of the surface rust into zinc oxide, and it doesn't need to be exactly perfect. However, this is working out pretty well and was surprisingly easy. The inside of the rails is going to be more difficult though. Here's another cool little tool we got. It's called a needler, and it just kind of uses compressed air to shoot out and pull back these little like metal needles that basically just punch off all the surface rust that you see here. Thank you guys for watching. I know we didn't do much in this one, but once again, we're all on the prep steps, and once we get everything prepped, everything painted, engine running, and we start getting this bad boy back together, things are going to get really interesting, so stick around. Thanks again.